Well, by now you simply have to know how World Cup qualification works for the OFC region, and if you don't, you haven't watched our video. So click just above Ryan's head and watch that now, and then come back to this one. It's a never-ending content cycle. You see, 3.5 months out. Anyway, so we are here today to talk specifically about the upcoming fixtures in the first round of OFC World Cup qualification. Yeah. Some would say the most important round from a minnow nation perspective, because we are really at the heart of the wrong end of the international world ranking.
The heart of the wrong end
of the international world ranking. Tonga, Samoa, American Samoa, Cook Islands, hosted in Samoa, semi-final and final setup. Ryan, should we start with the first semi-final?
I think the FFS Football Stadium, Field 1 in Apia, is never, ever going to have seen such footballing heritage than what we're about to witness across the 6th of September, 2024. We've got one game at 11 o'clock. Samoa time, and then one at 3. I mean, talk to me about a spectacle of and a feast of footballing feasting.
It's funny not to try and name drop somebody here, but
you're going to, aren't you?
I'm going to. I was exchanging a couple of messages with Ellis Platten. Trying to convince him to go to San Marino for the third game. I don't know if he is. I have no idea. We're not for their game. And I pumped him the screenshot from Wikipedia of the games on the 6th of September and then the 9th. Like, not sure that the cost of traveling to Samoa sort of justifies the content, but if you're desperate to go. But yeah, it's. I mean, to be fair, that is a great day of football. I mean, if you're there from 11 until that second game finishes.
I have no idea how much I mean, actually, that would probably cost a bomb to get out there. But it's sort of 2 for the price of 1 because it's 2 games in one day.
Yes, that's how 2 for 1 does work. You are absolutely right.
But you can probably. What I'm saying is, you can probably get a couple of videos out of that.
Oh, you know what? You're bang on. You are bang on. Let's talk about the Cook Islands versus Tonga then. 2 sides that didn't both participate in World Cup qualification last time around, only the Cook Islands, but they only played 1 game. They lost 2-0, a very respectable score, to the Solomon Islands before COVID knocked them out of the tournament, essentially. Yeah. And Tonga, of course, due to that unfortunate... Tonga, due to that unfortunate...
I'm here all week.
Sorry, there's a mosquito around me. Due to the natural disaster in the region, didn't participate last time out, which is a great shame, but fantastic to see them back in this tournament.
Yeah.
On the face of it, Ryan, off of the back of the Pacific Games, how much can we kind of read into Tonga's recent form?
What can we read into Tonga's recent form? Well, it's not just the Pacific Games in 2023, November 2023. They played in OFC Nations Cup qualies in March of this year and didn't do too badly. 1-0 defeat to the Cook Islands, their opponent in this game, and a 4-1 defeat to Samoa, but we know that Samoa are much improved. In fact, they actually played the Cook Islands in the 2023 Pacific Games last year, so they played them twice in the space of 12 months, lost 2-1 in November 2023, and then lost 1-0 in March in OFC Nations Cup qualification. So they're close games. And Tonga will have benefited. I mean, it's funny talking about Tonga benefiting from playing regular games and sort of building at least a little bit of team chemistry. They've only played 2 games this year and haven't played since March. They've got a friendly ahead of the fixture. They've not been absolutely thrashed, have they really? No. Yeah, they lost to Tuvalu last year. Yeah, they lost 7-0 to New Caledonia, but that was their first game in goodness knows how long. It's funny, isn't it? When you talk about the Cook Islands, you think that they have more sort of New Zealand-based players, and therefore you'd expect them to be a little bit better and to win games by bigger margins, especially the games against the likes of Tonga. Looking at their results, they lost 9-1 to Tahiti last year. So it's going to be an even game. I mean, I think I'm expecting the Cook Islands to edge this, but I think it could be closer than we think. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things I want to flag up from the Tonga perspective. So some people may have seen online. A guy called Michele Lomu, a guy from Utah with Tongan heritage, decided to basically try and make a dream come true to play in World Cup qualifiers, sold everything and moved to Tonga and has made the roster for the 2026 World Cup. It's a dream come true for me, but unfortunately I'm just English. So I can't, I don't think I'd be able to play for Wales. But yeah, it's an absolutely incredible story. He's made the roster. That has brought a lot of kind of exposure that didn't previously exist to Tonga and the camp. You literally couldn't find anything really before he started playing. They've got a new deal with a kind of kit manufacturer out there. Their new kits look amazing. I'll link pics and things to it. It's really fantastic. And I've been a little bit more up to date with it. And they're actually in Fiji at the moment. They played a friendly against Bar FC, so one of the club sides out there. And I'm not sure kind of what the result is, but just kind of looking at the camp, I mean, I haven't had any sight of what they've done in previous years, but it does look like they are at least trying to take this one seriously. They do look at this game against the Cook Islands and think, yeah, why not? And off the back of, I mean, 1-0 and 2-1's nothing. That's so easily overturnable. Is that a word? So I think that
oh, that's good. I think I heard Gary Neville say that on CoComs, Man United Liverpool yesterday.
Yeah, overturnable. So out of the two fixtures, I'd say if you're more likely to see a shock, I think it would be in this one. I wouldn't want to count Tonga out, but like you say, the Cook Islands are just historically that slight step above. So I'm expecting this one to be really interesting, and I'm kind of hopeful for Michele that they do win, because I think just going there playing one game, getting knocked out would kind of hurt a little bit.
Yeah, it would. It's interesting. They've not won a World Cup qualification game since 2014 World Cup quali. So that would have been a couple of years before. So that would have been about 2012. So it's over a decade since they won in World Cup qualification. Of course, we all know that the external circumstances that have been that they've been up against. But historically, Cook Islands are a slightly stronger team. And to be honest, mate, because we don't know much about the squads or the players, you've just spoken about Tonga, and that's really the most kind of detail that we've got on them. We don't know a huge amount about the players, just apart from the fact that they are one of the minnows of Oceania. I think that I agree with how you summarised it, mate, actually. I think the Cook Islands could edge it, but of the two fixtures, I'd expect, or this one has the potential to have an upset, potentially. Do you see there being an upset, or do you think the Cook Islands will edge it again as they've done the last couple of fixtures?
It's tough to say. I mean, an interesting thing to make a note of as well is I had a conversation a little while ago with, which I haven't posted to the channel yet, which should be out soon, a conversation with Jess Ebrom, who at the time was Cook Islands manager. And I don't believe he's going to be in the dugout for these. I don't believe he's still with the Cook Islands Football Association. So you never know what kind of impact that's going to make as well. Somebody who'd been there for a few years and really kind of set the foundations and the standards for how they play football out there. So a change in management, perhaps it won't work. I still can't get over the fact that historically Cook Islands are slightly better, and I think they'll probably edge it. But secretly, I'll be kind of rooting for a Tonga win there.
Yeah, I think me too, mate. I think me too. And then the big one, man. The big one at 3:00 on Field 1
huge.
of the FFS Football Stadium, the Samoa Derby. The American Samoans take on Samoa in a clash for the ages. Samoa to win?
Yeah.
Cool. So moving on.
I'd be, and this is what I meant when I said the other one, out of the two upsets, there is just no part of me that thinks that American Samoa have enough, to be honest, to win this one. Samoa, as we've seen in kind of recent fixtures and things like that, they've just been an awful lot better across the board, and I do think that they will have enough. I mean, American Samoa, of course, have lost to some non-FIFA teams as well, and it just hasn't shaped up great for them. So obviously important to note as well.
They haven't played since that 23 Have they played since the 23 Pacific Games? American Samoa doesn't look like they have. They conceded 31 goals in 4 games, and 10 of those were to Samoa. So less than 12 months ago, they lost 10-0 to the team that they're about to play. So that would be some swing in less than a year, unless the squads are different or whatever. Samoa have played a fair few games again. As we talked about this, they've played 5 this year, which is quite a lot for an Oceania team, and 8 then since last November with Pacific Games bits on as well. And then when they got through that, they played in OFC Nations Cup Qualification. They qualified, and then they had 3 games against stronger teams from the region. 2 what I'd call good defeats and 1 big heavy one. They lost to Fiji 9-1, which was bad, but then a 2-0 defeat to Tahiti and a 2-1 defeat to Papua New Guinea. Pretty good results, really, aren't they?
Good result
for Samoa. And again, they've got. I was looking at their squad actually. Where's this?
It's not bad.
Yeah, they've got a lot of players dotted around. One of them was playing in Qatar.
Yeah, and don't forget about Tim Cahill's son either.
For Lusail. Oh, is that Kaya Cahill?
Kaya Cahill, yeah, it's him.
Oh, is that Tim Cahill's?
Tim Cahill's son.
Amazing. So he's the guy that plays for
Lusail.
And he's playing for Samoa.
Yeah. So he played for Samoa a couple of times. So a forward player has only played a couple of caps, 21 years of age. It would be really interesting to see if he can get on the score sheet, which would obviously be fantastic for him and I'm sure for Tim as well. Yeah, so Tim was able to play for both. He was eligible for Samoa, but yeah, Kaya Cahill, Tim Cahill's son, will be playing for Samoa. So I do expect him to win.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's it's only in these kind of sort of football fixtures you get those sort of backstories, don't you? That's really cool. But no, so yeah, I'd expect Samoa to edge it past. And to be honest, I would then expect Samoa to beat the Cook Islands in the final and secure the final spot in round 2 in that group containing New Zealand, Vanuatu, Tahiti, and then potentially, probably Samoa. But just looking forward to it, mate. Just looking forward to it.
So our predictions for a final are a Samoa Cook Islands final, we reckon?
Yeah, I think so, mate. What about you? Yeah?
I do. I can't look past Samoa winning the tournament as a whole, actually. Which I think is why I'd like Tonga to win that first game, because then it's to, I just can't see Tonga or the Cook Islands getting the best of Samoa. I do think they're the strongest team. And I actually think, they out of all the teams, they'd give it the best go in kind of round 2 as well against Tahiti and Vanuatu. So I think my expectations will be that the hosts of round 1, Samoa, do end up victorious.
Hey, that home advantage as well. Don't forget that. We haven't even discussed that.
Huge.
We have not even discussed that. The FFS football stadium, Field 1.
Field 1.
Field 1. We'll be packed. Sorry. Be packed to the rafters.
I can't believe both games are on Field 1. I thought they'd maybe move one of them to Field 2, but wow, what an arena. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Because of course, you've thoroughly enjoyed this video, so why would you not? And we'll be keeping you up to date with all things OFC World Cup Qualification Round 1 on here.
Great to be back
on Twitter as well. Fantastic to be back, and we will see you next time.
In about 3 months.